All right, let's talk about the ultimate underdog story, but for today's world. This is the David versus Goliath playbook for SEO, showing you, the small business, how to stop just competing with the giant brands online and actually start winning.
You know the feeling, right? You pour your heart and soul into your business. You create something you're really proud of, and then you search for it on Google, and you're just gone, buried under pages of the same huge corporate logos. It feels like you're screaming into the void.
But here's the thing. What if I told you that being small, being nimble, even being on a tight budget is actually your secret weapon? Because the giants have a massive weakness, one that all their money can't fix, and we're about to exploit the heck out of it. First, let's just get real about why this whole thing feels so impossible. You're not imagining it. The game often feels rigged against you. But we're not here to play their game. We're here to change the rules. The giants basically have one strategy: brute force. They use their massive budgets to just carpet bomb the internet. They run these 24/7 content factories pumping out articles, and their logos are absolutely everywhere. It's designed to be intimidating, to look like an unbreakable wall, but it's not. And here is the big twist. The very thing that makes them seem so powerful, their incredible size, is actually their single greatest weakness. You see, their scale isn't a strength. It's a giant anchor holding them down. I mean, just think about it. A huge container ship can't just turn on a dime, right? It takes miles. Same thing here. For a big company to do anything, it has to go through committees, legal reviews, 6-month content calendars, all just for a simple blog post. That slowness, that absolute fear of being a real human, that's your opening. And you can literally see this weakness in how they talk. On the left, you've got this safe, boring, corporate speak that's been approved by 10 different lawyers. It's completely forgettable. On the right, a real person talking about a real problem they solved for a real customer. I mean, come on, which one do you trust? It's not even close. And this weakness, it just pops up everywhere. They're so busy fighting over the huge, generic keywords that they completely ignore the super specific questions your actual customers are asking. They pretend to be local, but they have zero real community roots. And they are just painfully slow. So that's their weakness. Now, let's talk about your advantage. Let's get into your arsenal. These aren't just little tips. These are secret weapons. These are things you can do that a massive corporation is structurally incapable of doing. It's time to fight a different kind of war. Your first and most powerful weapon is what I call the specificity assault. While they're all spending millions fighting over a huge keyword like plumber, you don't even play that game. No, you go after something like emergency plumber for leaking cast iron pipes in Austin. It's a search term they don't even know exists, but it's exactly where your best customers are hiding. And this little matrix here shows you exactly how to find those hidden gems. You just start stacking these layers. Who is it for? Where are they? What's their exact problem? And what's their situation? You combine all of that, and bam, you get a keyword like personal trainer for new moms with back pain working from home in Austin. A national gym chain has zero chance of ever ranking for that. But you do. And the best part, you don't need some crazy expensive tool to do this. Seriously, just make a list of your customers from the last year. What was each of their unique stories? Each one of those stories is your next keyword. It's your next piece of content. It really is that simple. Okay, moving on to weapon number 2, the local fortress. See, a national company can slap your city's name on a web page, but they can't be from your city. They can't be truly local. You can, and that's an advantage that money simply can't buy. And you build this fortress brick by brick. You make web pages for individual neighborhoods. You answer those super local questions that only someone from there would know. You become a go-to resource for your community. And you have to treat your Google business profile like it's the most important marketing tool you own, because it probably is. Now this one is huge. Weapon number 3 is your experience advantage. Big companies hire content writers who just Google a topic for an hour. You've actually lived it. Your scars, your mistakes, your successes. That is your most valuable content, and it's literally impossible for them to replicate. I mean, just look at this. This isn't a testimonial, it's a story. It's got a hero, a villain, a specific problem, and a clear, amazing result. This one little paragraph builds more trust than 100 of their generic blog posts ever could. This is the power of your real-world experience.
So, this all sounds pretty good in theory, right? But how do you actually put it into action? Well, let's turn these weapons into a concrete plan. Here's a simple 90-day framework to get you started and start building some real momentum.
Okay, month one is all about building your foundation. Nail down your specific focus, get your Google business profile looking perfect, and build out those local neighborhood pages. Month two, it's time for the content assault. You're going to create a wave of hyper-specific content based on those real customer stories. Then, in month three, you focus on getting the word out, sharing your content and building real relationships in your community. It's a focused, manageable plan to take back your turf. So, the million-dollar question, does this actually work? You bet it does. Let's look at a real-world example of a small business that used this exact playbook to go head-to-head with a national giant and win.
So, picture this. A small local florist getting absolutely hammered by those giant 1-800-whatever flower services. They felt totally invisible and they were losing business fast.
So, what do? They just stopped. They completely gave up on trying to rank for flower delivery. Instead, they changed the entire battlefield. They started creating content for needs the big brands would never, ever think of, like funeral flowers for veterans or the best flowers for a winter wedding in their specific city. They went hyper-specific and hyper-local. And the result? A 40% increase in revenue in 1 year. Not by outspending the competition, but by outthinking them. By being more specific, more local, and more human than a giant corporation could ever hope to be. So here it is, the big takeaway. You have to stop competing where you can't win. You have to stop playing their game. The key is to change the battlefield to one where your unique strengths, your specificity, your local knowledge, your real-world experience become the most powerful weapons on the field. The playbook is all here. The giants are big, sure, but they're also slow and predictable. They can't adapt like you can. So the only real question left is, how are you going to outmaneuver them?